It is July 2nd, 2 days before the United States celebrates Independence Day. In the vastness of space, a massive alien spacecraft crosses the surface of the moon and heads toward Earth. A strange frequency from the mothership is picked up at SETI headquarters in New Mexico by one of the engineers. In the middle of the night, he alerts the head researcher to confirm the amazing discovery, which delights him knowing their goal is to contact alien life. However, he becomes distressed when he finds out the signal is very close to the planet, about 375,000 kilometers away. Shortly after, the news of the alien spacecraft reaches the Pentagon Space Command, getting the attention of the United States Marine Corps General William Gray, who is quickly debriefed in the Situation Room. He is shown the satellite feed of the UFO, which is described as 1/4 the size of the moon and slowing down as it approaches Earth's atmosphere. While he alerts the Defense Secretary, President Thomas J. Whitmore awakens to news about his ongoing policies and how it is destroying his political image, alarming White House Communications Director Constance Spano. As soon as he takes his breakfast, he gets the call about the UFO, which initially surprises him. Elsewhere, a brilliant MIT-educated satellite engineer, David Levinson, arrives at his workplace at Compact Cable Network after a rousing chess game with his father, Julius, at a nearby park in New York City. In the middle of the office chaos, his co-worker, Marty Gilbert, asks him to decipher a signal they receive from one of their satellites, baffling David as he believes it is an anomaly from space. Meanwhile, Vietnam War veteran and pilot Russell Cassis is castigated for dusting off the crops at the wrong location by his son, Miguel, much to the amusement of the townsfolk who attributes his failure to his alcoholism. Shortly after, several pieces separate from the mothership and scatter across the globe. Simultaneously, President Whitmore gathers his cabinet members, including General Gray, to discuss their plan to initiate DEFCON 3. Assuming the alien anomaly threatens national security now that their satellite images have picked up on the disk, like anomalies. At the Persian Gulf, the captain of the USS Georgia S. Bean alerts Atlantic Command on the massive scale of one of the anomalies identified in Iraqi airspace through infrared imaging. Not long after, the White House watches the news about the disks popping up in key cities worldwide, including Moscow, Russia. They continue to monitor the situation with the aid of the Air Force pilots flying over the Pacific coastline in California. However, their transmission is cut when they crash into the giant spacecraft. With the threat now clear, the president orders a mass evacuation of all government leaders, with him, alongside General Gray, the only one remaining in the White House to prevent public hysteria. Constance immediately arranges a press conference to address the matter, which is seen by the confused team at Compact Table, including David, who has somehow decrypted the strange cipher from the satellite. Realizing that their building has a bombing shelter under the basement, Marty advises the staff to evacuate the entire floor while he alerts his loved ones. Elsewhere, Russell is drinking away his disappointment over his mistake at the diner when a few townsfolk come inside to mock him for his incompetence, revealing he has not been the same person since his claims of being abducted by aliens years ago. Suddenly, another disc-like ship appears in their area, stunning everyone, including Russell's children, left at the scrapyard. Not long after, more UFOs appear above Washington, D.C. and New York City, with the public in awe of their enormous size in the sky. In Los Angeles, U.S. Marine Captain Steve Hiller is unaware of the chaos outside his neighborhood, but after stepping out to get the newspaper, he and his girlfriend Jasmine Dubrow shockingly discover his neighbors evacuating upon seeing another disc floating in their city. Meanwhile, David tells a panicked Marty the decoded signal is a countdown timer for a presumed attack on their planet. They tune in to the president's live broadcast as he addresses the American people about the existence of aliens from space. David immediately calls Constance, revealed to be his ex-wife, and attempts to warn her of the impending danger ahead. But she dismisses his ideas as paranoia and hangs up. He then leaves with his father as they drive away from the disorderly New York streets to Washington, D.C. Meanwhile, Captain Hiller prepares to leave for El Toro to investigate the situation. Jasmine tells him she is worried about her and her son Dylan's safety now that he will be away, but he informs her that she can follow him and relocate to his base whenever she is ready. Later in the evening, Lucas and his family prepare to leave the trailer park when Russell appears after being released from jail for causing a disturbance and joins them. feeling proud that he has been right about the existence of aliens all along. In Macaz, El Toro Air Base, Captain Hiller arrives in one of the locker rooms and receives a letter read by his colleague, Captain Jimmy Wilder, informing him he is denied a position at NASA. Though disheartened, he hopes things will turn out okay once he proposes to Jasmine with an engagement ring he has been keeping. Elsewhere, Jasmine finishes her performance early at the nightclub as the patrons have been glued to the news about the aliens. She advises her friend Tiffany not to engage with alien enthusiasts gathering in the city due to the danger it may pose. Meanwhile, David and Julius arrived outside the courtyard of the White House. He uses his transmitter to clear out the signal disruption and contact Constance to let them inside the building. She does so reluctantly, knowing that David and the president have bad blood between each other due to a misunderstanding. Later, President Whitmore and his staff monitor the events at Andrews Air Base, where an aircraft is retrofitted with a visual communications device to send messages to the spacecraft. He is summoned back to the Oval Office to hear David's warnings about the signal, which he interprets as a countdown for an attack that will happen in less than 28 minutes. The threat is proven when the spaceship launches a lat beam to decimate the Pentagon's Echo 1 helicopter. Due to this response, the president orders immediate evacuation for everyone in the White House, including the First Lady, who is airlifted from another city. Meanwhile, despite the warnings, Tiffany arrives at the alien enthusiasts gathering on a rooftop, signaling the aliens to take them. Suddenly, the major cities watch as the spaceship launch beam attacks that eviscerate the area, sending people fleeing for their lives while others like Tiffany and Marty die. Elsewhere, Jasmine is stuck in traffic when she sees the flames engulfing the streets, prompting her to leave her car and retreat to safety with Dylan and her dog, Boomer. For the rest of the evening, the attack shambles many parts of the country. The following morning, Lucas and his family drive through the desert when they witness other people leaving their homes and heading south to avoid the aliens. At Air Force One, a distressed President Whitmore is informed by General Gray that his wife's convoy did not reach Nellis Air Force Base in time, presuming it crashed during the attack. Meanwhile, while Jasmine and her son navigate through the ruins in Los Angeles, Captain Hiller, Wilder, and the Black Knight Squadron are ordered to launch an attack against the spaceship looming over Los Angeles while monitored by the president in the command center. The pilots look in awe as they make their approach, locking their missiles to shoot down the massive target. Unfortunately, they discover a force field that shields the spacecraft from incoming projectiles. Some pilots get too close and crash as smaller ships from the spacecraft scatter and attack the Black Knight Squadron. With more planes getting shot down, the president orders the regiment to retreat, but Captain Hiller and Wilder find it difficult as they flee from ships chasing them through the desert. Wilder tries a risky aerial maneuver, only to lose his coordination and get shot down, much to Hiller's disappointment. While the flying saucers attack El Toro, the captain tries to evade his pursuer through the canyons, blinding it with his parachute while he ejects and lets his plane crash along with the alien craft. After landing, the cocky pilot approaches the ship, opens the hull, and punches the alien inside in the head before enjoying a cigar to celebrate his victory. Unbeknownst to him, Jasmine finds an abandoned truck and successfully gets it to run so that she can evacuate safely with Dylan and her dog. Later, at Air Force One, Constance expresses her gratitude for delivering the warnings about the aliens. Julius admits that David may still have feelings for her, asking her to take a chance to revive their lost love for each other. In the next room, President Whitmore argues whether launching a nuclear counterattack over American soil is the best offensive now that NORAD has been decimated. David adds to the debate, believing it will be a catastrophic event. When he is dismissed, Julius intervenes, claiming the U.S. government has been aware of alien life since the 1950s, keeping Area 51 a secret. Though the president initially clarifies the rumor, Defense Secretary Nimziki confirms that the base is real, and they can go there right away. Meanwhile, Jasmine drives along the ruined highway, saving many displaced people along the way. She accidentally stumbles upon an injured First Lady Whitmore, the sole survivor of the helicopter crash. Elsewhere, Captain Hiller wanders through the desert while dragging the alien corpse with his parachute. Taking advantage of the passing trailer trucks, he grabs a lift with Russell's family to the secret base in Area 51. Meanwhile, at the facility, President Whitmore and his team are greeted by the head scientist, Dr. Brackish Okun, who is thrilled with the visit after some time of hiding their existence from the government. He takes them to the laboratory, where a derelict alien ship is being reconfigured, having awakened after lying dormant for over 40 years. He also shows them a vault housing the recovered alien lifeforms with massive head, structures that communicate through extrasensory perception. President Whitmore suggests David team up with Dr. Oker to decipher the code transmitted by the aliens' mothership in hopes of learning more about their advanced technology. Outside, the trailer truck fleet arrives as they escort Captain Hiller, who presents the alien corpse to the guards and immediately brings it to Dr. Oker for an emergency lobotomy. He is taken inside the Situation Room while the staff discusses their next move with the threat of mass extermination within 36 hours. Though commended for his bravery and survival, the captain is torn to discover that the aliens destroyed the entire El Toro base. Simultaneously, Jasmine and her group arrive at the location, unaware her boyfriend has been away from El Toro. Shortly as evening falls, she tends to the First Lady as she talks about her life with Dylan. Meanwhile, Dr. Okur and his team of scientists dissect the body of the alien specimen recovered by Captain Hiller. Unfortunately, the life form awakens as it telepathically attacks the doctor, causing him to flail uncontrollably. The alien stands and attacks everyone inside. The president's team discovers the aftermath of the lab incident moments later. To everyone's surprise, the alien uses Dr. Oker's body as a vocal communicator, demanding it be released from captivity. President Whitmore pleads for peace, but the creature is adamant about seeing humanity's destruction. It then attacks the president with its psychic abilities, prompting the Secret Service and military escorts to shoot it dead. After the effects of the attack wane, he reveals that he entered the aliens' thoughts and discovered they plan to exhaust the planet's resources and destroy it afterward. He then orders the alien spacecraft to be nuked, as this is the only viable option for humanity to survive. Later, David and Constance talk about the strained relationship with the pair's resentment for each other still present despite hiding away their lost feelings. Meanwhile, the president's team monitors the operation as the aerial bombers prepare to fire at the spaceship. When the warheads make contact, an explosion occurs, delighting the officials who believe they have destroyed the aircraft. However, the ground recon team confirms the attack did nothing, prompting President Whitmore to abort the mission. Simultaneously, Captain Hiller borrows a helicopter and flies to the ruined El Toro base to rescue Jasmine and the First Lady. Unfortunately, the latter's reunion with the president is cut short when the doctor discovers she is bleeding internally and cannot be saved. President Whitmore gives her one final kiss and embrace, leaving the room distraught as he hugs his daughter. Sadly, the First Lady dies shortly after. The next day, feeling hopeless with the state of things around him, David resorts to alcoholism to drown his sorrows, much to his father's disapproval. He then comes up with a brilliant idea to defeat the aliens, taking inspiration from Julius's advice not to catch a cold. Gathering everyone inside the laboratory, he explains, through a demonstration performed by use of Major Mitchell, that they must inject a computer virus to disrupt the aliens' shield. Additionally, the plan will require some able-bodied men to fly the derelict spacecraft toward the mothership and infiltrate the inside to set off a massive explosion. An outraged Secretary Nizimki dismisses the idea, but Captain Hiller volunteers to be the pilot as David reactivates the ship. With no other recourse, the president agrees with the plan and assigns the pair to work together while firing Nizimki for his insubordination and plausible deniability of Area 51. Later, through Morse code, the U.S. government contacts the British Air Force, stationed in the Iraqi desert to prepare for a counterattack. Eventually, other countries join in the fight as military bases around the world launch planes to aid the United States offensive. Meanwhile, Major Mitchell rounds up all the pilot volunteers, including Russell, for a debriefing about the proper handling of F-18 fighter jets. The veteran speaks up, expressing gratitude for the opportunity to exact revenge on the aliens that abducted him 10 years ago. Later, General Gray reveals the time-sensitive firing mechanism that will be attached to the ship's central console to set off the nuclear warhead. Constance expresses her worries to David, believing it is too risky, but he accepts this, wanting to take a chance to save the planet. Before leaving, the pair attends a makeshift wedding ceremony of Hiller and Jasmine in front of a military official. Constance is touched to discover that David still wears his wedding ring and holds his hand as the newlyweds kiss. Later, at the crack of dawn, the president delivers one final speech to rouse and inspire everyone at the airbase. Declaring July 4th as humanity's Independence Day from the aliens, he vows they will persevere and fight back with all their might. Much to the crowd's joy, he then grabs his pilot uniform and tells General Gray he will join his men in combat in the air. Later, after bidding goodbye to their loved ones and receiving a pair of cigars from Julius, David and Captain Hiller climb aboard the alien vessel and fly out to space. Despite the uneasy ride, though the captain is thrilled to achieve his dream of soaring into space, David feels somewhat regretful about his decision to leave Earth, feeling too ambitious. Since their aircraft appears friendly to the mothership, they are automatically pulled into its dock. As they look down, they see millions of alien soldiers waiting to invade Earth. Upon docking, David conceals the ship's windows as he successfully injects the virus into the network. The pair prepare to leave but soon realize they are stuck in the docking bay. Meanwhile, less than 26 minutes left before total annihilation. President Whitmore and the Air Force rally in front of the massive spaceship, getting confirmation on the upload. He launches a missile that fails to penetrate, but believing the shields have delayed disabling, he fires another one and gets a direct hit, prompting the other planes to fire while the spaceship performs countermeasures. While a fierce dogfight goes on, everyone at Area 51 evacuates inside the facility to avoid the barrage of the aliens' missiles. To ease their minds, Julius gathers some people in prayer, including Nazimki. Meanwhile, as the spacecraft prepares to fire its primary weapon, President Whitmore orders an offensive attack to aim directly at the center, but their missiles soon run out. Fortunately, Russell appears as the pilots clear a path for him to lock his rockets at the weapon. However, the firing system jams, unable to release the missile. To everyone's surprise, Russell makes the ultimate sacrifice, telling his children he loves them before flying straight through the weapon center, causing the ship to explode. As cheers spread throughout the base, Lucas tells Captain Mitchell he has always been proud of his father. While the news about the ship's destruction is spread across the globe through Morse code, David and Hiller enjoy their cigars as they execute the last phase of the plan, launching the kill code and sending the missile straight through the central hub. As their ship dislodges, they flee from their pursuers as Hiller flies through a small opening that closes behind them just as the entire mothership explodes from the nuclear warhead. Later, President Whitmore is welcomed back as a hero, while other countries celebrate their victories by destroying similar alien spacecraft. Some minutes pass as General Gray informs him about losing contact with David and Captain Hiller's vessel, only to find it in the desert by radar shortly after. Rushing over the crash site, Jasmine and Constance watch as the heroic pair walk away, with cigars in their mouths. After their reunion, President Whitmore thanks them both for their tireless efforts. As his daughter greets him with a happy 4th of July, the president and the surviving group look toward the downed spacecraft, relieved, as streams of projectiles looking like fireworks scatter in the sky.